Hello, everyone. Here we are back at Left Bank Virtual Happy Hour. We've got Brittany and Becca here, and also we're going to go to Brittany, and she's going to say hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much. I missed you last week. I'm so glad to be joining you again on this beautiful day. I'm ready to make some cocktails.
And Becca's back at it, and she's coming to make some Pop-Tarts, and all. Becca, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me back. You guys are the reason that we do this every week, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And let's have some fun.
Awesome. All right, so now we're going to go into our first wine tasting for this week. And this week, during wine tastings, we're doing somewhat, more or less unknown regions. And some of them are unknown because we can't get a lot of them in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to say why. I'm not going to say, who's the culprit, but, it depends on, where we get all our wines, right? The first one is this Val do Pomfif. And I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'll bring it up to the camera a little bit. Comes from the Douro region. And then Val do Pomfim, that is the well-placed valley. That's what that actually means. So this is coming from the Douro region, northeast section. Hey, Lynn, how are you? Northeast section of Portugal, pretty much on the same line as Porto. And in the same region is where you will be getting your port from. Lots of great port coming from this region. And this producer, it's kind of a mixed producer. This is produced for the House of Dow, which, if you know about port, that there's Dow port. But the family that makes this is the Cementin family, and there's lots of different terroirs here. So you're looking at different steps with this wine, and this wine is a blend. So you're talking about 5 different wine varietals that you're not going to get in the United States. These varietals are Tinta Barroca, Touriga Franca, Touriga Nacional, Tinta Ruiz, and Tinta Cow. So those 5 different varietals is what makes up this wine. Okay. All these wines are very inexpensive. Portuguese wines are phenomenally inexpensive and phenomenally good. So getting to kind of like the color, you're looking at a nice dark, rich red. All these are going to be, somewhat the same. If you want to make a reference in terms of what you're familiar with, it's kind of like a Merlot color. Okay. But now the smell, and this is probably some of the reason why sometimes people may or may not like Portuguese wines or older wines coming from old world. This does have kind of an earthy, a leathery, and people could say a musty smell. I get some leather, some spice in it even. But when you taste it, remember, always on the first one, you want to get some air in there and all, so you can really taste, what the flavors are. But on the taste, it's, some nice, a very mild acid, very, very mild tannins. You get some blackberries, you even get some fresh red fruit. Has a decent finish. It lingers a little bit, but I really like this, and we don't sell enough of this. And we have it on our wines by the glass, and I think more people should be drinking this. Okay, so this is the Val de Pomfim from the House of Dows, and you should be looking for this and looking for more Portuguese wines. Okay. The next one, and I know there's a lot of Malbec fans out there, and maybe this isn't, super super on the unknown list, but Argentinian wines. There's probably Malbec is the one wine varietal that Argentinian wines are known for. Okay, this is our Aroma. This is I think most people probably know Rothschild. Rothschild is one of the producers of this. This again, is a deep, rich red color, on the line of Merlot color. But this is 100% Malbec. This is coming from the Mendoza region. Mendoza is on the same plane as Santiago in Chile, but is on the other side of the Andes Mountain. So Andes Mountains, if you know geography, is the second tallest outside of the Himalayas. So you're getting different types of climate changes there. Temperatures and rainfall and arid. So they've got it all there. Okay. So this Malbec, you get a completely different smell compared to the Portuguese wine. This one is plums, red fruit. It's bright. It's what Malbec's supposed to smell like. Now again, just like the previous one, not a lot of tannins. The outside of my mouth is not puckering up. It's not watering. The acidity, it's slightly more on the sweeter side, especially compared to the Portuguese one. So there's a little more sweetness from the fruit of the grapes. Tannins are really low. And I mean this wine would be great with a steak. Not too much of a spiciness of sauce. Lamb would be great. You could even do this with pork. I think depending upon the sauce, depending upon the accompaniments. Okay. But I think this is probably one of our big sellers in terms of Malbec, and it's a great wine, and you should be looking more for Argentinian wines. We have a great by the bottle Argentinian wine that is Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's just phenomenal in terms of price and taste. Now our third one, this is coming from the Barossa Valley. This is definitely, we don't have a lot of Australian wines in Pennsylvania, and even in outside of Pennsylvania, I think Australian wines don't get their fair shake. Sometimes I think it may come because one of the most popular Australian wine is Yellowtail, and if you can, just don't drink Yellowtail. I would prefer you not to drink Yellowtail. There's better wines out there than drinking Yellowtail. Okay. Sorry if someone's watching from Yellowtail, but yeah, I don't recommend it. This one is Barossa Valley Estate. So this is coming from southern part of Australia. Again, geography lesson. If you know where Melbourne is, Melbourne is southeast corner, right on the coast. We're just coming just northwest, just slightly, right across from Kangaroo Island. That's where Barossa Valley is. And this wine, especially for the price, all these wines again, are under $20. Might even be under 15. Can't remember. But this is Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is on the darker side. This is going to be a little richer. You can smell the plums. You can smell the black currants. You can smell a little bit of chocolate. You can definitely smell pepper. It's very spicy. So if you don't like spice, and you would not want to eat this, you would not want to drink this with something that's acidic, or spicy on the other side, because the spicy and spiciness from this would counterbalance, would react to that, and it would be like on fire. Your mouth would be on fire. So again, not a lot of tannins. Some nice, real good fruits. David Satterley, watching us from the islands. Nice to see you. Well, you see me, I can't see you. But so nice fruits. Not a lot of tannins, not a lot of acid. A little spice on the back end. And again, this one, just like the Malbec, both of those have long finishes, so it'll stay with you. Really good wines. All three of these can be. You can drink these by themselves. If you're just looking for hey, it's quarantine time and you just want to drink a bottle of wine, drink a bottle of wine. But if you want to pair stuff with food, this would be great with a steak. Malbec would be great with lamb. Pork, depending upon what sauces possibly. And then the Val de Pompin would be great with, again, lamb, pork, beef too. Even stews, would be great. Okay, so these are the lesser known wines that we have. And we always try to get some lesser known wines, and hopefully have people find something new, instead of just hey, tried and true is great, but sometimes we always have to step out of our comfort zones and try something different, and we may even like it. Okay, so we'll have these on our website, and now we're going to go to the lovely Brittany, and she's going to do a Lemondrop Martini. That's a lot of lemons and limes on that table.
I know. I thought it was beautiful for today. It's nice and sunny out. My house is sunny. I'm sunny. Just So for the Lemondrop Martini, it is a perfect day for it. You have that nice citrus drink. So you're going to use any citrus vodka. We have the Kettle One Citron. You can take 2 ounces of the vodka and put it into your pint glass filled with ice. And then we're going to put in a half ounce of Grand Marnier, 1.5 ounces of simple syrup, which you can make at home, equal parts sugar and water, and just let it simmer on the stove, and 1.5 ounces of lemon juice. If you want to make it a little sweeter, you can put in some Cointreau, but that's to your liking. The tumbler on, make sure it's nice and tight. And then you want to have a pre-rimmed glass with sugar. To rim the glass, just take a lemon wedge and rim the glass with the wedge, and then dip it into a plate of sugar. And then you're going to take your martini and strain it in. Perfect for today. And garnish it with a lemon wedge. And then I have my cocktail that I'm going to enjoy while Becca makes her Pop-Tarts. Cheers.
Well, I know everyone's had Pop-Tarts before, and these are going to be something special, and all because they're all fresh and all made from our pastry chef Becca. So Becca, let us know how we make these.
Right. So first thing we're gonna do is start with just a basic pie dough recipe. It's super easy to make. There are a lot of steps involved in this, but I think they're totally worth it. You'll be really happy with the end product, I'm sure. The first thing you're going to do is put your dry ingredients on your mixer. This is just 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a teaspoon of salt. Meanwhile, you're going to have your butter cut up into small cubes, and you want to make sure it's nice and chill for when you add it in your dry. This is basically going to allow you to get those nice flaky layers when you're incorporating that in. And what we're going to do is we're going to put in a little bit at a time. And like I said, it's very important to make sure that this butter is cold, especially on a hot day like today. So usually when I make pie dough, I'll cut my butter up ahead of time, and then I'll put it in the freezer or the fridge and let it set up while I get my dry ingredients ready. And also, another thing you want to have ready to go is some ice water to stream in for when the butter comes together. For the ice water, I just put some in a bowl, and I put more than I need just because the amount of water you're going to add depends really on the humidity in the air. It's one of those things where you just can't really have an accurate measurement to give for a recipe for pie dough. But once you make it enough, you kind of know what you're looking for. But for this recipe, I start with a 1/4 cup of ice water plus 2 tablespoons. And it could be more or less, give or take, just depending on the climate in the air. And basically what we're looking for is for the texture to become nice and crumbly. We want the butter to break down into like pea-size shapes and sizes. So as you can see, it's starting to crumble up a little bit. The butter chunks are just still a little too big. So I'm going to put that back on the mixer for a couple more seconds. Since it's a small batch, it shouldn't take too long. If you're making a larger batch, it could take you a little while. I know the good old-fashioned way is to mix pie dough by hand, but that takes way too long. And if you have a mixer, you might as well use it. And we're looking pretty good now. The chunks of butter starting to break down. So now I'm going to start with my 1/4 cup of ice water. Just dip that in your bowl. And I'm going to slowly stream it in. And you're going to see the edges kind of start to pull away as we add in our water. And you don't, like I said, you have to be pretty careful with how much water you add. If you add too much from the get-go, it's going to be hard to get your dough to come back to the way you want it to be. It'll get a little bit too sticky and tacky, and that just makes it a mess and impossible to roll out. So as it's mixing, it's really starting to come together now. And you don't have to see it fully roll into a ball yet because we're going to knead it a little bit with some flour. But we're about there, and you want to keep it on speed 1 the entire time. You don't really want to overmix it. The key to finding out if it's ready to go is you pull a little bit out, and if you can mash it up in your hand and it makes a nice shape, it's ready to go. So this looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the mixer. I have my flour down and ready to go. And to knead it a little bit in the bowl before you pull it out, just so it kind of comes out in less pieces rather than dumping the whole thing out. And you have a pretty good shape. And if you feel like it's still a little bit too dry, stick your fingers in some more water and knead it in a little bit more. And then pull this out. And you're just going to knead it until it comes together. You don't have to go crazy with this step. It's really just to get the dough to flatten out. And once you get it to the right consistency, you're just going to put it in a little disc. And you want to flatten it out as much as possible because when you go to roll it out later, it's going to make it a lot easier rather than rolling it from a big dome. Once you get your dough to come together like this, just wrap it in plastic, and you're going to put it in the fridge for about 15 to 20 minutes. This step is important to allow everything to set up. And what you can do while your dough is setting up is you can have your brown sugar mixture made, which I have here set aside. So for this, it's just 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And all you do is you just mix it by hand, and it's going to resemble kind of like a wet sand consistency, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And you can have this made ahead of time, set it aside. Also, you want to have some egg wash made. The egg wash is just 1 egg and a splash of milk or water whisked together. I have some pie dough that I already rolled out and cut up earlier. And I just cut out some rectangles. You can do any size you like. And depending on the size that you do, you're going to yield about 6 to 8 Pop-Tarts from this recipe. So first thing you'll do is on your bottom layer, you have your top layers ready as well. You're going to take I use a cookie scoop, maybe a tablespoon or two of the brown sugar filling and scoop it on top. And when you go to spread it out, you can just use your fingers and you want to spread it evenly, but you want to make sure your edges are exposed because that's where you're going to egg wash, and that's what's going to help keep your top layer sticking to the bottom layer. So see how it's kind of in the center, but we leave the edges clear. We're going to take our egg wash, brush the edges, do it on all 4 sides, and then you're going to take the top layer of your dough and press it on top. And just use your fingers to gently press down on all the edges to seal it in. And you'll go ahead and repeat that step with all of them. And then once you get all your edges pressed down, you want them to be as pressed down as you can just because you don't want the filling to come out of the ends. And if you notice that the filling is coming out when they're baking, that just means there might have been a little bit overfilled, which is okay. Nothing wrong with a little bit of extra filling. And then you're going to take a fork and just place that around the edge, kind of crimp the edges. This will just create an extra layer of a seal for the Pop-Tart and adds a nice little design as well. And then once you do that, you're going to take the fork as well and poke a few holes in the top, about 3 or 4. This is going to allow the air to escape, and then that way that will also help it from coming out of the sides, the filling. So once that's done, go back to your egg wash. You're going to egg wash the top. Do that for all of them, and then you're going to put them into a preheated oven at 375, and you're going to bake for about 15 to 20 minutes. We're just looking for a nice golden color on top, and that egg wash is going to help us achieve that as well. And here I have a few that I baked earlier just to kind of give you a reference of what they should look like before we glaze them. See, they got a little bit of a nice color on the bottom and on top, and that's how you know that they're ready to go. The next step is to glaze them. Now for glazing these, it's really important to let them completely cool before you do this. This is so that the icing doesn't run off. And if you get a little bit running off the edges, that's okay. But you want to make sure you have enough on top to enjoy it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your glaze, which this glaze is just 1 1/4 cups of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons of milk, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, and a couple dashes of cinnamon. You don't have to add too much cinnamon, just because we have a good amount in the filling. But if you like a heavy cinnamon flavor, feel free to add as much as you like. But this is another one of those things that you can start making while your Pop-Tarts are cooling. And like I said, there are a lot of steps to these, but if you play it out right, you can kind of achieve different tasks while other things are setting up. So then I took about a tablespoon or so of the glaze, and I'm just spreading it on top with a spatula. And you're going to repeat that on all of these. And then once you're done, this is what they should look like, give or take. And I think it's best to serve these warm and with some whipped cream, or you can eat them as you wish. I hope you enjoy.
Becca, those are a lot of Pop-Tarts there and all. Who's going to eat all those?
I'm definitely going to take them over to my mom's later.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was you, Mike, or
Oh yeah, my husband will eat some too for sure.
I'll eat some too if you want me to, Becca. You can drop some off at my house if you want.
I got
Becca, you know, our other bartender, since she's not here,
yeah.
she's got to be watching. Megan's asking, can they be frozen and saved for later?
Absolutely. If they make it to the freezer. I can't guarantee that they will because you'll probably want to eat them. But if you do want to freeze them, and you could even freeze them in steps. So if you want to just make the pie dough and freeze that, or if you want to assemble them, bake them and freeze them, you could do that as well. But yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all.
Now, would it be better to freeze it without the glaze?
I wouldn't do the glaze when freezing them. That's something I would do fresh. And another thing with the glaze, which I forgot to mention, is when you do glaze them, let them set out for a couple of hours before you wrap them or before you stack them on a plate, because that glaze needs to harden. And it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth the wait.
Awesome. Well, I think that Pop-Tart could easily go very well with this key lime pie martini.
Liquid dessert. Who doesn't love liquid dessert?
Exactly. So Brittany, show us how to make this.
All right, this is one of the favorites for guests when they come in to Left Bank, especially over the summertime. So first thing you'll need is a pint glass filled with ice. And we are going to use 2 ounces of vanilla vodka. And the secret ingredient, which is going to make this key lime pie, is the creme de coconut. You can find this at your local grocery store. I went to Seatown. I got the Goya brand. It looks like this. And I'm going to let that sit in there so it runs off because it's nice and thick. So while I'm making the rest of my drink, it's going to pour in there. I'm going to use a half ounce of Midori. Now this is a melon liqueur, so it doesn't seem like it would go with the key lime pie, but it's going to give it that nice key lime pie color. And it's also going to tie in the citrus flavor from the lime and then the sweetness from the coconut. We're going to put in a half ounce of liqueur 43 and 1 ounce of pineapple juice and a half ounce of lime juice. And just like we did before, we're going to rim our martini glass, but this time I did a graham cracker crumble. Top it with your tumbler. Now with these dessert martinis, you're going to get a nice froth at the top. It's going to be a nice creamy martini for you. And you have a refreshing liquid dessert for you, a key lime pie martini, and I'm going to garnish it with the lime wedge. There you go.
Wow. That looks delicious.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not too much of a sweet tooth drinker and all, but that looks great.
No, it's sweet and tart. It's perfect.
Hey, what's liqueur 43?
Liqueur 43 is a Spanish citrus liqueur with vanilla accents to it.
Awesome. Wow. Well, I think that's some great stuff and all that people could be doing, especially while today is like nice and sunny, and I don't know what was it, 80 degrees outside today or something.
Beautiful today.
Yeah, and tomorrow's going to be nice. I think Sunday might be rainy or so and all, but I think we're getting into the home stretch of spring, moving into summer, warmer weather, and these cocktails. And if anyone ever buys Pop-Tarts again and doesn't make Pop-Tarts themselves, with this recipe, they should be in trouble. Yes.
They should be.
Yes. So just to do some shout outs downtown, hey, tell everyone there are a lot of restaurants still doing takeout. We're doing takeout. We're doing chef's tables Fridays and Saturdays. This week we're doing Cuban. We have a couple tonight. We have a bunch of people tonight. Even Crystal and Bob are coming tonight, I think. And we have tomorrow night is still available until 9 o'clock today. That you can order for tomorrow. And then we also have next week and all. And we'll be coming out with another menu somewhere around Sunday, Monday for the following 2 weeks. Okay. But come downtown. Central Market Revival, One Hospitality does a lot of takeout. Rockfish, White Rose is doing takeout now. So support downtown. Hamir's, I know, is doing takeout. So anyone downtown, come downtown, support, and help all the small businesses. Brittany, do you want to say hi to anybody, any family out there?
I'll say hi to my mom and my sister.
Aren't they like right next door?
They are always annoying me in other rooms, but this is my alone time. This is the only hour I get where they're not annoying me.
Becca, do you want to say hi to anybody?
I'll say hi to my mom and sister as well, and I know that they're anxiously waiting for me to bring Pop-Tarts over, so I'm going to do that now.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed both the cocktails, the wines, and the Pop-Tarts. We miss everyone. We can't wait to be back. But we're gonna roll out how we're gonna open up in the next couple weeks in terms of what we're gonna do, how we're gonna do it, and to make sure that our staff are safe, you're safe when you come in, and that we can give you the left bank experience that you expect. Okay. So hope everyone stays safe. Hope everyone has a good time, and we'll see you next week on Virtual Happy Hour. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.